All right. Hi, everyone. People out here who are live and watching us. We have got Avish with us. Since all of you have given CAT, SNAP, and MAT, and a couple of more exams which you guys have planned in this year, it's high time to focus on one of the major important exam that we have planned in the season, which is going to be your XAT exam, which is going to come up in the upcoming month. Right? If I can get a quick heads up from all of you who are live, whether you're able to hear us, whether you're able to see us, we are good to start with the content that we have planned for you. And I'm very sure that Kavish is also going to give us a good level of insight on the decision making segment and the overall ZAT paper. And it is just not going to be your ZAT discussion, but overall it's going to be a holistic discussion with respect to ensuring that how do you get into the top tier business schools by writing the
Okay.
Sumit, Arpit, everyone, people out here who are live, everyone out here, can you all hear us? What I would advise, Kavish, if you can switch off your speaker button, if that works out.
Okay, I shall switch off my speaker.
Just the speaker.
Okay.
Perfect. Everyone is able to hear us. Perfect. Okay. So before we even start with the discussion, a very warm welcome to all of us who are there on board and who are here attending the ZAT workshop on day one. It's going to be 2 days of intensive workshop that we have planned for you. Not just the decision making, but the overall perspective of ZAT will be able to get the clear insight about the upcoming examination. And starting with the first session that we have planned for today, for the first 15-20 minutes, we'll have an open discussion with the mentor on board, who is Kavish, who has secured 96 percentile in ZAT last year, and his overall performance in decision making was 98 percentile. On the basis of his score in ZAT, he was able to land himself in one of the prestigious institutions called as Willinker, which is based out in Mumbai. So, Kavish, why don't you introduce yourself before we even start?
Yes, sir, sure. Thank you for the brief introduction for myself. Now I'll introduce myself. So, hello everyone. My name is Kavish Jain, and I am from Udaipur, Rajasthan, the city of lakes. And as sir said, I have entered into Valinka Institute of Management and Retail Management. I was same as you guys all. You all are here, and I was also very nervous before attempting for exams. I was the same as you, and but now I landed up in Valinka Institute of Management, which was my dream institute, and retail was something which I always wanted to get. So that was all about my brief introduction. Thank you so much, sir, for inviting me.
Perfect. So let's start with the first question that we have planned for you, which is you wrote ZAT exam last year, right?
Yes, sir.
And you secured 96 percentile in the overall paper and around about 98 percentile in the decision making segment, right? If
Yes.
you can help us with your performance in CAT, if you're okay to share your percentile or any raw score that you have got in CAT, I hope along with that you might have given the other exams also, right? So
Yes, sir.
how was that different? So than the other examination. So all the students who are live with us, they consider that to be one of the extremely difficult and challenging examination from the aspect of the quality of question which comes up, right?
Yes,
But
sir. Right.
there's another vertical to it, which is with respect to the competition and the colleges which you can get into, right?
Yes.
So visitors, you're comparing CAT versus ZAT. So both are not apple to apple comparison, right? So
Yes.
though we understand that some of the content of that is going to be slightly more heavier in weightage in ZAT exam, which comes in the CAT exam. But if you look at the overall selection process, the outcome in ZAT is going to be more in favor for a desired student than what happens in CAT, right? Does the
Yes.
same thing happen with you also?
Yes, so the same thing happened with me also. The CAT exam for me was quite good for me. but it was not as expected. I scored around 85 percentile. And when attempting CAT, it was since first exam of the season, so I was quite nervous. But when I came to give ZAT exam, I was quite calm and composed before giving the ZAT examination, and was quite confident that I can crack the exams. I prepared for around 2 years. And as you ask about the questions, when we are comparing CAT and ZAT, these two are slightly different things, as CAT is having decision DILR section, quantitative aptitude, and VARC section. But in ZAT exam, we have decision making section as well, which is quite good, as it is having some practical questions which are open ended, and it can have any n number of answers. We need to have open approach towards those questions, and when we are prepared for those questions and we go calmly and composed in a composed way, we can surely get those apples, as they are quite lower. We can easily grab those apples. So I find that exam to be a good one rather than the CAT exam.
Perfect. So if I consider the technicalities of, let's say, logical reasoning, quantitative aptitude, and verbal ability, these are technical core subjects. Basically, if you follow any reference book, if you follow your mentors, you'll be able to upgrade and upskill yourself before you sit for the examination, right? On the other
Yes.
hand, you have got something which is called as decision making, right? Which tests your managerial appetite and aptitude, right? And majority of the students who will be writing ZAT or any other examination will not have any reference point to it, right? So I'm sure that once you join the business school, there's a lot of code of conduct and business ethics and a lot of ethical dilemma cases which you actually go through, which is going to mold your overall personalities so that you become a future manager to work for a good corporate companies, right? So
Yes, sir.
before you even sit for the examination, how do you upgrade your skill set for decision making, right? So if you can help us with what did you do to score 98 percentile in decision making section, which is going to help us and the other students to understand that the given amount of time that we have got in our hand, how do we prepare for the given section of decision making?
Okay. So, sir, starting with my journey, right when I was preparing for CAT, I was quite sure that I would be taking ZAT exam too. And for that, my teacher, my learning center tutor, always told me to prepare for decision making section by keeping yourself in the shoe of others. We should always try to be empathetical. While approaching management issue and ethical dilemma questions, we also need to keep things into consideration, and we should not go in the like emotions. We should not get carried away. We should always think by logic, and we should always get maximum out of the situation with minimum losses. So this approach was quite fruitful, and I also solved paper of past 2 to 3 years, and all the questions I've solved that, and which were quite helping me a lot. So this was basic approach, and in exams when I was giving, I was using elimination approach, where I first used to eliminate the options which were quite away from the answers. Then after that, I choose the right option. Also, there are questions which are open-ended and are single questions. Like in a set, there are two questions. They are open-ended, single questions as well. So I try to start with the single questions, then I choose set questions. It was quite easy approach to attack those questions.
So if we can categorize the kind of question which comes in DM, you've got financial case studies, you've got business ethics and ethical dilemma business case studies, and you've got management issues case studies also, right? So do
Yes.
you think people should actually prioritize with respect to looking through all the possible question once and then prioritize, okay, let me spend my first 5 minutes or 10 minutes behind the section which I'm comfortable with. So let's say whenever you're preparing, you prepare with the fullest of your potential and explore all the possible verticals in DM. But when you sit for the mock paper, when you go for the actual ZAT paper, do you think it's important for us to
Uh, so actually, I am not able to hear you. Sir, I am not able to hear you. Okay, so sir, I can try going to your question. Sir, while
Kavish, are
attempting,
you there?
yes, I'm there. Yes, sir.
Hello. Kavish,
Yes, sir,
Kavish,
I'm there.
Kavish,
Yes, sir.
Kavish, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm there. Okay, so sir was asking about how should we approach the questions. So there are four categories: logical and analytical ability, financial issues and management issues questions, ethical dilemma questions, and critical reasoning questions. So it's about how to prioritize our things. So same is the approach while attempting the Z. So my approach was to first get about ethical dilemma questions, then next financial issues question and management issues question, and the last was the critical reasoning questions. So ethical dilemma questions were like we should not be carried away with our emotions. We should use elimination approach. We should not choose the unethical questions, unethical options. We should not approach uh, our biased approach, and contradicting options which should also not be chosen, and temporary solution questions should be ignored. Option should be eliminated. So this was my approach while attempting DA section. Hello, sir. Are you there?
Kavish, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear. So I can hear you now.
Kavish, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, sir.
So people who are live, can you all hear me now again back?
So I can see two questions in the chat box. I will try to answer them. So first question is, how many questions do we have to attempt in order to get 99 percentile? Because unattempted questions also carry negative marks. So the thing is, the questions are quite tempting. It is always like that we need to attempt all the questions, and since it is also carrying negative marks, so we try to attempt many of the questions. But the thing is, the negative marking is for all of us. We should not be attempting a lot of questions. We should only attempt those questions which we know fairly enough, and those questions which we are sure about. So overall, in my time, there were around 75 questions, and I attempted around 60 questions. 55 to 60 questions, and I was having marks around 25, around 25 marks, and that grabbed me around landed me on 95 percentile. So it is like for getting 99 percentile, you need to get at least around 40 questions or 40 questions correct. So that was answer to Ashutosh Tiwari's question. And the second question is, how many questions did you ideally attempted, because unattempted question also carry negative marks? I already answered that question. I attempted around 60 questions, and in DM there were around 19 questions, so I attempted around 17 questions. So I got around 12 questions correct. And the best part of the Z exam is decision making section and quant section. BRC is little typical and boring thing, so you need to take care of this that section. For all the sections, the good attempts are fairly around. In quant, if there are 25 questions, an ideal attempt would be around 18 questions. And for DA, from 19 questions, ideal attempt would be around 15 questions. 14 to 17 would be a good attempt. And for VRC section, out of 24 or 25 odd questions, you should around get 19 to 20 questions. The level of quant in Z was not too high. It was parallel to CAT level, and it was a good one. Yes, I can hear you now. Clearly visible, sir. Can we leave geometry for Z? So Raj, you can leave that, but there are questions which are quite easy sometimes. You should not leave that geometry section as a whole, but at least go with your concepts brushed up. It can happen that the question might be easy to attempt. So you should not leave any section, but learn at least the concepts should be clear, so that if the easy question comes, you are able to answer that question. You are in a condition that you get that question right, and that will be possible that a small points will make you stand out of the crowd. Okay, so for one question is for GK questions. So it is like GK questions don't count, but if you want to be an XLRI or XIMB, you should get a good number of GK attempts, because while attempting for the interview, they ask us for how many. Uh, they judge you basically on the GK, like how is your GK, and if you get a low score, they grill on you. They grill on that topic only. So you should be thorough with GK, and you should read newspapers and be intact with current affairs, and uh, be aligned with the GK as well. Suri, if you have a weak edge on quant, you should try to do at least a basic concepts of quant, because if you are not doing a basic concepts of quant, then it is quite difficult for you to survive for Z. And seriously speaking, the cutoffs for different colleges and overall for Z is low as compared to CAT. Like For Wellinger, it was around 75 percentile. For Z, it was a cutoff for Wellinger to enter. Major topics in quants are arithmetic, geometry, probability, and numbers. Any other questions? So the question by Senthil Kumar: How many questions did you attend in quants, and what can be ideal attempt for 90%? So roughly, I remember I attempted around 20 questions, and for getting 90 percentile, you should get around 12 to 14 questions correct. Other you can keep as a buffer, so you would easily land 90 plus. And difficulty level for quant is a little bit higher. You get poems also there, and summary questions, and rather fill in the blanks questions, but it is you would be able to attempt those questions. The poems are not too difficult as well. Important topics for English and logical reasoning. Important topics are summary and RC sections and all those things. Uh, in DM, you are not merged with English. Logical reasoning is also not typically that much merged, but it is there. But you can practice a lot and lot, and you can crack the logical reasoning session. So the question by Herschel: How did you study quants? As I am not numbers person to that extent, I find a little bit difficult to solve. Uh, Actually, basically speaking, I was studying quants a lot. I gave around 4 to 5 hours of quant daily. I uh, picked up topic randomly every day, and I used to give mock sessions for quantitative aptitude daily. And if possible, I used to sit at institute and ask my teacher for physical question papers, and solve daily questions daily. That was the only thing which you can do for quant to make it a good thing. And definitely, if you are not a number person, at least try to do the concepts, so that you can easily crack the easy part of the quant. Yeah, it is good to go with current affairs for that, because if you are landing in a percentile range of 95 plus, then a good GK would definitely matter, because in XLRI interview they grill you a lot. They grill you seriously a lot if you get a low GK score. My friends were grilled on that basis only. And since sir is not able to connect, so we would be having a detailed Z session tomorrow. So we can sign off now. Thank you so much, and have a good evening.